What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York back on the Zoom meeting again, and this time we are here with Clementine of Visions of Atlantis. Great to be able to talk with you today. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome. Hello. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. This I think you're the first band I've ever interviewed where I'm doing a Zoom interview after I've seen you on tour. Normally, like it's so weird to think that now.
It should be the other way around. Like you should.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But that Dragon Force tour, I mean, that was actually the first tour that I was scheduled to work press at that got canceled at the very beginning of the pandemic. So this is actually
Oh yeah,
this is a very cathartic interview to do.
I see.
Yeah.
We've been through the same trauma, I guess.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. Well, I didn't exactly have to travel. Weren't you like already in the United States and then had to go back? I think you
Yeah.
had it a lot worse at the very beginning.
Oh yeah. For a couple of days, that was a real challenge to face. To first of all realize the tour might get canceled. What the fuck is happening? And then the tour is canceled. You have to go home. Booking your flight tickets last minute. Yeah, it was and then being home all separate because we obviously at back then didn't live in the same country. We still don't, but now I'm closer to the band, and yeah, being like everyone else stuck and having no clue where this would end and where we could start again being a real band on stage.
Well, they did say the pandemic was going to be over by Easter. They just didn't say which Easter it was. They didn't say it was going to be the Easter 2 years later. So, you know,
Yeah, but I pretty much think that they couldn't. I mean, they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know what they had to face. We didn't know what was that virus, how to handle it. So they sort of try to give hope. I mean, our government was really responsible for not for being wrong many times and never apologizing for that. But anyway, it's a
yeah,
different topic.
fair enough. But thank you so much for giving us new music. The new album Pirates, I think, is a great album to witness. Visions of Atlantis come back on. Was this like an original idea that you had, or was this like I know it's kind of like a what if question, or would this idea did the Pirates album not come through fruition until you were in lockdown? Was this something that you were working on because of the lockdown?
We had to start working on a new album because Wanderers was released early 2019. So it was in our plans to work on a new record. The pandemic gave us indeed more time than we would have had to. I mean, then if it happened in a regular tour period and tour schedule. So that was a blessing in a way. But then, yeah. To become a pirate band and all that. This came because we took more time and really started to redefine ourselves. But yeah, the album was planned anyway. It's not like we decided to write an album because there was a pandemic. We had to write it anyway.
Okay. Was this like a preconceived idea? You wanted it to be like very pirate themed, or was there like maybe a lot of experimentation before you all had like a real idea of what you wanted this album to sound and be like?
Well, the pirate theme has always been around since I joined the band because actually I wanted Visions of Atlantis to become a pirate band from the start. But it didn't, at that time, our leader was not really convinced that this is the way we should take. And then, but still I managed to like write lyrics that were totally in that under that theme. And we had the band members from Yevanish Privateers. It's a Swedish pirate. It's not a metal band, but it's a pirate folk music. They appear in our The Deep and the Dark video. So the pirate theme was already there. And when we started to write the very, very, very first songs for this new record, we could sense that we didn't have a clear idea of how we wanted to evolve from Wanderers, what we wanted to say, or how we wanted to show up. And we really had to, as I said a bit earlier, give it some thoughts, give it some time, give it some, like, take a little step back and be a little more objective about our assets and about the things that we love to do musically and the things that the people have enjoyed within the VOA so far. And then we started to write songs that were heavier, that were darker, and it felt right at that time to fully embrace the pirate universe, which is very strong, which is super inspiring, which is very rich, And of course we are our own pirates. The we're not like the funny pirates who just sing about drinking and robbing other ships, but we have a deeper approach to our theme because it's very rich. And to me, it's just a big metaphor for the inner journey what we can all do within ourselves. And yeah, so it was there, but the new songs for this record convinced us it was the moment to really embrace that vibe and make it our new identity.
Yeah, do you think pirate metal is almost like becoming a genre, like the same way Viking metal sort of is? Because, like, people have referred to so many bands like as Viking metal, but Amon Amarth sounds very different from like in Huriar. But like, the people have been calling Visions of Atlantis pirate metal, but Visions of Atlantis sounds something like Ailstorm. So, do you think that it's like pirate metal's a genre now?
The thing is, at first there was metal, and then there were subgenres because people got creative and went and came up with new sounds and new styles and all. And there, thanks to internet, in a way, now there are so many bands of so many styles that it's no longer only about the music. It's also about what you're talking about and the universe that you build around your band. And if we would have stick to just be a symphonic metal band dressed in black and a little bit gothic here and there, I mean, how would we stand out nowadays? So many bands are out there doing the same. So having a theme and a stronger identity, of course, makes us stand out. And as I said, the pirate vibe for me was there for a long time. And if it becomes a genre because other bands have the same theme, why not? But once again, I think labeling is not doing justice to the music, because as you said, if Ailstorm and us do pirate metal, there's no end, and this is where the common point ends.
Yeah, definitely.
Because musically we have nothing to do with each other.
Exactly. Like, people are labeling bands as genres now, not just based on the sound, but on the lyrical themes and so much more. It's like, just call it heavy metal at this point. It's like getting so chopped up at this point.
Yeah, but at the same time, it also encourages bands in a way to just do a bigger work around themselves, around the band. And I think in our genre now, a lot of people want to escape reality and immerse themselves into big universe. I think this is also the reason why Viking metal is thing, because it refers to other periods of time and it's another universe. It carries some values that we don't always encounter in our everyday lives. So yeah, and this is nothing to do with the music itself.
Yeah, definitely. Was Pirates almost like, do you consider like the albums to be like conceptual? Like, was Pirates like kind of like the sequel to Wanderers in a way, or was Pirates mainly its own story and its own entity in the Visions of Atlantis catalog?
It's to me a very a logical development. It's like we came out from the deep in the dark and we started a journey, but we started to wander, like without a real goal. Like, we're out there, like that's what we do, and we need to find our way. And we found, like, and that way led us to embrace who we are. That's how it feels to me. That's the personal thread that I created in my head that makes me connect our releases, and also helps me connect myself to those releases and to be able to create in the universe of VOA. So to me, it's the evolution. It's the next step of the journey after you search for who you want it to be and how you want it to show up.
Definitely. And The Deep in the Dark, I know, was your first album with Visions of Atlantis. So when you joined the band, were you kind of like looking at albums such as Delta or Castaway or Trinity being like, okay, this is how I have to sing? Or were you kind of allowed to bring a little bit of your own mix into Visions of Atlantis?
I was never fully impeached in doing what I felt like doing, but there was a clear line. Like, The Deep and the Dark was meant to reconnect with the very roots of the band, very symphonic metal, old school, that's why the production is sounding the way it sounds. Um, and I embraced that concept, even though at some point vocally, given the songs that we wrote for this one, I realized that yeah, classic voice or mixed voice is nice here, but here chest would be more efficient. So, and our producer was totally up for bringing more vocal diversity than just sticking to one very specific vocal placement, and I was very happy about that because I don't want to do just head voice or lyrical parts. I have more to offer.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And being that Visions of Atlantis has more than one singer, I mean, there's really no limitations on vocal styles in general. I mean, it could be as aggressive as you want to be or as melodic as you want to be.
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
And this is also a guideline for the next one. We want to explore even more of our vocals because we want to give birth to many different characters in our pirate universe.
Do you feel that in like Visions of Atlantis, you all are kind of like portraying characters who are different from who Clementine personally is, or like are you, or is there maybe some personal experiences or personal uh, characters incorporated in the lyricism in the music as well?
I think being a pirate on stage and in the videos, it empowers a part of ourselves. It empowers. It's empowering to to really show up for who we are. And this is not a costume. We're not different people. It's just an augmented part of ourselves that has embraced his or her power and is on stage with full confidence. This is to me what the pirate theme has done to my performance, my approach to this. And of course, we also talk about things that are more or less positive. And this also, for me, is an opportunity to explore my darker side, my shadow. And this is also a part of myself. And I think we as human beings are multifaceted. And with pirates and our music, we love to be able to tap into the different aspects of who we are to create something that resonates with us, that represents us, but also could be could be resonating with other people.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny you mentioned that too because like going to the positive theme, like that Dragon Force tour was like the most positive tour. Like that is like every band, Dragon Force U, Seven Spires, like they were just all like so positive. And like I would love to see maybe a contrast. So you should go out with a band like My Dying Bride or Catatonia and just add a lot more contrast emotion behind it.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and but I think Visions of Atlantis does prove that just because the music sounds positive doesn't mean it's not metal at all. Some people think metal has to be anger and darkness 24/7.
Yeah, which is a huge part of our metal world, like for sure. I think the immense majority of the bands out there are darker, more brutal, and angrier because it helps release that specific emotion. But with the like rise of symphonic metal worldwide, there is a space for more romanticism. There is a space for more hope. There is a space for brightness. There's even a space for love. I mentioned I love in my lyrics so many times because this is something I want to talk about, and I don't want to do it with pop music necessarily. I think metal enables every kind of emotions. It just has to be done in a metal way.
Yeah. And it's done with like integrity too. I think both, trying too hard to be positive or trying too hard to be negative is just gonna be annoying music in general. So I think you all avoid that pitfall. I also wanted to talk about the other like projects you were involved with because I know that you've played with Serenity before, and the album you were on, War of Ages, is actually going to be 10 years old next year, which is so hard to believe. But like you've also done guest works with bands such as Leaves Eyes and Tales of the Sands and more. Like has working with different bands, whether it is a band that you're a part of or collaborating, been a different mindset, or is there just a usual process that applies to every project that you're involved with?
I think it's pretty much pretty much the same approach. It's like I try to give my best to whatever the job is about, and to bringing a specific aspect to my personality that fits the mood of that project, and I try not to make it more complicated than that.
Okay. You've been portraying yourself like, but do you almost feel that maybe you portray yourself differently in Visions of Atlantis because you have this theme as opposed to like what you've done with like Serenity or Exit Eden?
Yes, sure, because it's different kinds of music. It makes me feel different when I interpret those songs, when I'm part of that music. So I don't want to show up the same. Like I can't just show up the same, uh, um, singing this in this register. Plus, every band has its own universe, and I want to take part of it and not break it. So when I played with Serenity a couple of days ago for their Memoria shows, I didn't bring my pirate outfit. I brought an outfit that to me fit more the universe of Serenity. Also because I used to be part of the band, so it's even more different. It's even different for me because yeah, I knew it from within. So I'm not like a guest from out of nowhere. But I would of course never wear or do something that would not feel connected to me. I can do that, and my stage performance is pretty much anyway. Um, like I don't think about it. This is just how I do things, and um, sometimes I'm pretty used now to sing with other people, so I'm also paying attention to their own approach, so that we're in sync, so that we do this together, and not just me doing my thing and he's doing his thing, and therefore adapt to the environment, adapt to the role. And I think this comes from maybe me always wanting to, when I was younger, be in theaters or be in cinema. It's like I love to embrace different parts, but that's not me. In that context of music, doesn't mean that it's not me at all. It's just another part of myself.
Mm-hmm. And you led me perfectly, actually, into the next question because being that Visions of Atlantis does incorporate multiple vocalists, do you almost kind of have to all be in the same mindset or be like on the same page lyrically as well as emotionally, and when it comes to tracking or even singing live to make the song flow better? Or do you think that maybe it is easier when both of you are kind of like in your own headspace and there's nothing sort of like guiding or dictating you?
No, we must be a team. From the moment where we choose the harmonies and how I write the lyrics, I take into account Michele's comfort zone and Michele's comfort vowels, and then sometimes I send him lyrics in advance and I ask him, "Do you feel comfy with what I'm saying there?" And then he says me yes or no, and then when we are on stage, it's very natural that we interact together, sometimes more or less easily, depending on our own comfort. There are days where on a headline tour where the sound condition was so critical that it's harder to open up and be very attentive, to what is happening around you. But this is a skill we need to work on because we're singing together. We're not singing on different bands or different tracks or different. We're part of the same mode, so it's definitely a teamwork rather than everyone each other's being in his own mind.
Definitely, definitely. And the final question I wanted to ask you is like when it comes to like writing lyrics, are you like looking at each other's notes and kind of like it's does because sometimes every singer I've interviewed they always say I need to write lyrics when I'm like alone in isolation, like nobody could bother me with the lyrics. But do you almost kind of have to like take notes together and write the stuff together to sort of make it cohesive?
No, because I write everything. This was something I wanted to do when I joined Visions. I said, I'm up for whatever, but I write the lyrics. And because it's easier to me to keep the entire meaning through my vision from the start to the end of the song. And it's impossible to do with someone else. I mean, it's very difficult to make sure that the 2 people listening to the same song will be in the same on the same exact page with the same vision. And I intend to put a strong meaning behind the lyrics of our song, and I would not be able to achieve that if half the lyrics would be written by someone else. Plus, it's like also a good teamwork because Michele has written a lot of songs for this new record. I've been writing more like all the lyrics, and that completes itself. We complete each other, and so yeah, we don't write together, and this is not a problem at all.
Yeah, I've always wondered how like Lacuna Coil is able to like come up with lyrics with Christina and Andrea, like both focusing on lyrics and the melody together. It's like how do you like work together on the same song if you write the lyrics separately and like make that work? That's got to be difficult. So it's cool to know that you're able to avoid that. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time today, and so glad we could finally make this interview happen. It was only 2 years delayed. I guess
Only 2 years, all good.
yeah. I guess something something happened between the last between the tour and now. So
Yeah, right.
yeah, things happen. But you know what? It actually worked out for the best because I remember that tour and I accidentally triple booked myself for like 3 different shows that day. So maybe it worked out for the best. Everything happens for a reason. Is there just
Agreed.
is there just anything else with Visions of Atlantis that you would like to promote? You mentioned some new music now. Is there just anything else you would like to promote or shout out?
Oh, I want to say hi and thank to all our amazing American people, audience, sailors and pirates, who discovered us, followed us, supported us since that pandemic, and who attended the shows with Dragon Force and who are asking us back already. We really feel like you guys understood what our band is about, and we can't wait to be able to showcase that as a headliner or as a main support act and bringing more of our universe to you.
Yeah, I used to think pirates weren't real, and then I rode the Staten Island ferry and realized, oh, they are real. They are real. Just, but thank you so much, everybody. We are here with Visions of Atlantis. Be sure to check out Pirates if you haven't already. This is Alex from Heavy New York. It is good to be back. We'll see you next time.